I was at the grocery earlier and I was talking to someone who had checked out the link to my masterclass. And we got to talking about how this even came to be. And I thought I would share a little bit of that story with you all because I think it's pretty relevant. So, probably like 11 or 12 years ago, I had a major health crash. And while I had dealt with neurocardiogenic syncope since I was a little girl, like 5 years old, and then POTS I started having POTS symptoms in college. I'm now 44. I had been able to manage it pretty much on my own, and I had learned that that was what I was going to have to do if I wanted to live life vibrantly, because doctors weren't really able to help me. They were trying to control me in ways that didn't feel good to me. They had me on medicines that weren't working, but they didn't want to help me get off of them. And if I did get off them, they said, I had to have a pacemaker, and that didn't feel right. So I just learned early on that I was going to have to listen to my own inner voice, because the experts, the so-called experts, weren't offering me anything that was working. So when I had this really big crash, Jagger was 4, I think, and he's now 16. So it was like 12 years ago. I was at work and I found myself on the floor about to faint and unable to recover, unable to get up. People had to drive me home. It was a Friday. I thought, I'll take the weekend. I'll be fine on Monday. I went back Monday. The same thing happened. And I ended up working from home for, I guess, probably a year and a half. I went into a really dark place. I was literally crawling around my apartment. I could not stand up. I could not walk. My blood pressure bottomed out so badly. I was trying to take care of a child at the same time. I was, on my own with him, crawling around, trying to get food from the fridge for him, food for myself, staying hydrated, doing all the things, and found myself in doctor's offices yet again. Nothing was helping. Nothing was working. So this was time, I felt just intuitively, to lean on my spiritual practices, to go deeper with those practices, to lean on my own inner knowing. And I just felt like this was a wake-up call for me. So I started doing more meditation. I had a really vivid dream that showed me, that's how I actually found Dave Asprey, was through this dream that I had. I had never even heard of him. And I was well on my way. And I just started noting what was and wasn't working for me. And then I started realizing, through working like with my mentor, through working with other people, that the process that I was using was mirrored in nature. So my mentor, she's like a research scientist, and she looks at all like bacteria, mycelium, fungi, like all the things, right? And so she was mirroring back to me, this is happening in nature too. And then I was noticing with other people that they could also utilize many of the same elements of the process to engage with whatever darkness was happening in them and engage with the difficulties of life, whether they involved a chronic condition or not, whether they were a really big difficulty or just they were trying to make a decision on something that felt unknown. But they could engage in it in a different way And if they could start seeing it as guidance, whatever was happening, whether labeled as good or bad in our mind, if we could see it as guidance, then we could engage with it differently. We could go into the darkness. There were specific tools we could use in the darkness, and we could gain more wisdom there and emerge on the other side of that as a more connected, vibrant version of ourselves. And the wisdom that we learned in that darkness was there to serve us. And what I've since learned is that darkness, the void, that is where all creation comes from. So, a big part of how this masterclass came to be was my playing with all of this for 15 plus years. And it actually did start in elementary school. I started learning in elementary school. I had to listen to my body, and I had to prioritize my inner knowing over anything outside of myself. Like I would lay down in the middle of the classroom if I had to, because I learned that as embarrassing as that was, it would be more embarrassing to faint, turn blue, shake, and then be completely out of it when I woke up, not really understand where I was, what had happened, and then have this whole recovery process that took, a few days before I really felt better. And if I would just notice it, listen to it, lay down, give myself what I needed, then I could at least stop the faint from happening. And then I started working after this big crash happened, 12 or so years ago. I started working with, okay, what brought me to the point where my body needed this crash to show me something, where I needed, how is this guidance for me? And I have just found that when I engage life from that perspective, oh my God, I can create the most amazing future for myself. I can literally create anything I want. And so, yeah, I've really learned how to turn disability into possibility. I've learned how to create magic and work within frameworks and see patterns, and I just recognize that that would be beneficial to everyone, to the planet, to you. And so I created the masterclass. Spirit really guided me on that. And I would love to take you through the framework because it's something that would benefit you for the rest of your life. It's not a 5-month class that you then just drop. It's literally 5 months of learning, engaging, playing with it, building your self-confidence, researching yourself and building an evidence file that you can trust your inner knowing, that you can be connected to yourself, you can be connected to spirit, that you are guided always, always, always. And it develops a really deep trust for life, So if you're interested, if it's appealing to you at all, check it out, DM me with questions, email me. I'm here for you, and I want the best for you, and I would love to be a support on your journey. Peace.